questions on how to do this, on how to use the formula. Okay, just make sure to have this formula with you. Okay, lower boundary. Okay, it always starts. Okay, the median class is taken by what? Median is summation of f divided by 2,
over 2.
which in turns give us 60 divided by 2, which will give us the 30th position. And then we find the 30th position coming from your cumulative frequency. If you still don't know how to use the cumulative frequency, that means the first 1 until 12 data entry belongs to the first class. 13 until 28 data entry belongs to the second class. And 29 until the 40th data entry belongs to the third class, which means the 30th data entry is now found here from 29 to 40. Understood? So
Yes,
that
teacher.
means our median is 23 to 32. Class 23 to now where all of your calculations in the formula are going to come from, which means lower boundary of the median class, that is going to be 22.5 plus summation of f over 2, you just got that, that's now the 30th position, minus CF of lower class from here, cumulative frequency of the lower 28, that's one. Then divided by frequency of median class. Frequency of median class is 12. There, multiplied by I. If until now you don't know where the I came from, I is the difference between these two, so that's I. It can also be the difference between these two. Okay, so I can also be your upper boundary minus the lower boundary. Okay, so these are things that you need to discover, supposed to be. So after that, we get 24.17, and by placing it in a number line, we can have this representation. Okay, so last meeting, I told you as well that I am going to show you where this came from. How did we end up with this formula? Okay, for that, I need to erase some stuff. Okay, so where did all of this came from? Now, this came from what we call interpolation. Okay, interpolation. Interpolation is now estimate the value of a data point given its position using a very basic mathematical process known as ratio and proportion. Okay, so what we are, if you do not know what is a ratio and how to do ratio and proportion, you just think of ratios or fractions, let's say 1/2, and then you don't know the first value over there, but you know the second value down there. Okay, so 1/2 equal to x per 8. So with this, you can now solve for x. X is what? X is equal to, just cross multiply and then you divide.
X equals to 4.
X equal to 4. So yeah, so basically this is ratio and proportion. However, how do we do that using this? Okay, so it looks complicated, but basically it's not. It's not. Looks can be deceiving. Okay, so if I'm going to give you a number line, if I'm going to give you a number line, and then I'm going to, so let's say I'm going to compare here 10 to 20. That is now our distribution. And I am now going to get the 15th place. Okay? This is now the 10th place. This is now the 20th place. So this is now the position. And then let's say now that we are going to find the score of the 15th place between 50 points and 100 points. What's the 15th place? That means now the 10th place garnered 50 points. The 20th place garnered 100 points. Okay? So we have two values that we are comparing, is score versus its position. We know the 15th, the position that we are looking for, but we do not know the score. Okay? So since we have two values that we are trying to compare, we can now start making our, what's this? We can now start making our ratio. The ratio is, let's talk about length. Usually we use ratio and proportion in triangles wherein we use the length, correct? Yes? Okay, so let's talk about length. If I'm going to compare the distance between 15 and 10, how do you get that? What's the distance between the two?
5.
5. How do you get 5?
15 minus 10.
15 minus 10. Very easy, right? So that distance is 15 minus 10. I'm going to make a ratio from the complete distance over there. So what's the ratio of the whole thing? Or what's the distance of the whole thing?
20 minus 10.
20 minus 10. Okay, that's the first fraction. It should be equal to the same ratio on the score side. Okay, on the score side. That means I need to get this one juga, and then this one. So it will give me what? Distance
X minus 50
over
100 minus 50.
the whole distance, 100 minus 50. Okay, so from here, since we already have the values, we can now solve for x. Solving for x, this is what? That is going to be 15 minus 10 is 5
75.
over 10 equal to, what's this?
X minus
X
50
minus 50
over 50.
over 50.
50.
Okay, so 250 divided by 10 is 25 plus 50. X is equal to 75.
75.
Easy, right? Okay, so that's what we are aiming for. This is what we call interpolation. But how are we going to translate this here in our this? Let me. Do I need to put this simple example in our group? Okay,
Maybe no.
okay, it's okay. It's free anyway. Okay, so how is it related to our topic? Okay, so it's the same thing. We are now going to compare the number line, but then we are looking now for the median. So x is the median. And obviously we need to know your median position. The upper values or the upper part over here will be the value and the lower part will be the position. Okay? So think about limits. Okay? The median position is the 30th one. The 30th is the median position. Where are we going to locate this? What are the extents or what are our limits? The 30th position is in between two values. What are these values? We have, since this is now the median class, it's either maximum value is the 40th position. So that is now the less than cumulative frequency of the median class. And the lowest possible value is above this, above 28, which is now going to be what? Less than cumulative
less
frequency
than
of the lower class, right? So that's about the position. How about the values? The value of the median is between what two values? It will be between either this value and this value, correct? So lower boundary of the median and the upper boundary. So that's our ratio. All we need to do now is to make the appropriate ratio same, this compared to that, while this compared to that one. Okay. So how do we come up with this formula? This is going to be what? Median or x. Lower part first. This one, this median position minus less than cumulative frequency of the lower class divided by the whole thing, less than cumulative frequency of the median minus less than cumulative frequency of the lower class is now equal to x minus lower boundary of the median clause, LB and D, right? Divided by the whole thing, UB minus LB. But what is UBLB minus LB? UBLB is I. So this one is, you can change this one to I. Clear? Okay. Now, if you don't believe me, let's try. Let's substitute values. Substituting values, median position is 30 minus, what's this? Lower class, cumulative frequency of the lower class, 28 divided by?
Of the median 40.
40
minus 28.
minus 28. It's now equal to x minus lower boundary
22.5.
22.5 per upper boundary
52.5.
32.5
Oh yeah, 32.
Oh, that's 32. 32.5 minus 22.5. Okay, this one becomes 2 per
12.
12 is now equal to x minus 22.5 over 10. Okay, solve for x. 20 divided by 12 plus 22.5. 20 divided by 12 equal to plus 22.5. What you get?
Uh, $24.1617. Yeah.
166. Okay.
Yeah.
Compare to the one that we solved using the formula.
Same.
It's the same. Okay. So there you have it. Okay. So that is now the first part of our lesson today. We still have a few more minutes left and I plan to continue. I'm going to place this one in the group. You can complete your notes later. And let's move on. I'm going to erase this one now, yeah? Not all.
Okay, teacher.
Not all.
Okay, teacher.
I'm going to erase the interpolation part. Okay. So next, if we can estimate the mean, if we can estimate the median, then we can also estimate the mode. So that's part for central tendencies. Estimated mode. For estimated mode, we also use a formula similar to interpolation, but we are looking at a different part of the frequency table. So we have LBMO plus D1 per D1 plus D2 kali I. Okay, that's the first part wherein we have here D1 is equal to, D1 is FMO minus F of LC. D2 on the other hand is FMO minus FUC. Okay, so what are this? Definitely I is equal to your interval. Your LBMO is your lower boundary of modal class. FMO, take note, this is not the less than cumulative frequency, it's just F, meaning frequency of modal class. FLC is frequency of lower class from modal class. And F of UC is now frequency of upper class from modal class. Okay. I think this is fairly straightforward. You just need to use this info or that formula together with these two formulas down here. Okay, so let's start. Just get information directly from the table. We start off with, what's again our modal class?
2332.
Yeah, 2332,
Yes.
modal class.
Eh,
Mode.
1322. Sorry.
Modal class is the highest frequency. Okay, so that is now going to be 13 to 22. Okay, so all data will be coming from this group over here. Okay, so we start off with D1 first. D1 is equal to 16 minus this frequency of lower class from the modal class, minus 12. Okay, this is now going to be 4. Next, D2. Frequency of modal class, we already have that, minus frequency of upper class. That means up. It so happens that it's also 12, so I will also have 4. Next is place all info here. So estimated mode. Is now equal to lower boundary of the modal class. It's that one, 12.5. Okay, so it's 12.5 plus D1 is 4 over D1 plus D2 multiplied to I. Okay, no, I is given. I is 10. Okay, calculate. Estimated mode is what?
17.5.
This is now 1/2, right? 1/2 times 10 is 5. Tambah ini 17.5. Okay, you can also represent that in a number line if you want. Just like how we did the rest, using a number line that will be what? That is now the mode 17.5. This is lower boundary is apa lower boundary 12.5, and this is going to be 22.5. And you can use the I or you can use the other one, no problem. Or okay, let's just use, what did we use last time? It's this one, right? LLUL. So it's 13 and 22. Okay, there. That's the end of our lesson. The next meeting, we will be moving to quartiles and percentiles. And quartiles and percentiles uses interpolation. So do not, at least get familiar on how to use interpolation.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, you can move to your next class now. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.